yourself. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is a leadership class in the context of a multicultural grouping thingy-majiggy. Yes. Okay, yes, the coffee is kicking in, and it's pretty bad. Multicultural would mean people of different cultures are belonging in the same group. But when I say the word culture, you're probably thinking, oh, this guy is from Italy and this girl is from Kazakhstan, and they're all coming together into a group. But really, culture, and for those of you who are in intercultural communication, you can relate to this. Culture is really about being different from other people. In fact, having girls and boys on the same team and having a leader who is a woman and staff who are men would create cultural diversity and sometimes a cultural gap. Have you guys ever tried, for the girls, have you guys ever tried talking to men and finding yourselves going, why is he reacting this way? Why is he thinking this way? And to extrapolate it further down the line, men are black. Men are blah. They think so much about blah, and men at the same time, I'm sure, are going, women complain too much. Women do this and women do that. Why do women go to the restroom together? That's weird. Can you guys ever imagine going to the restroom together? Let's go to the restroom together. Can you ever imagine women? You guys can tell each other, hey, you look beautiful today. Guys, can you imagine saying that to your fellow guys? Dude, you look handsome today, man. So see, even when you're in a group, you have your own languages, your own cultures. This means that in any group you are in, and at any time you are a leader, you will be in a multicultural setting. So even if you're with your fellow Americans, even if you're all guys, you were all brought up in different ways. You all had different parents, unless of course you're the octuplets and you're all being led by your mother. But up to mom. But the thing is, every time you are a leader, you will be judged. You will be in a multicultural setting. So I want you guys to get in there and be a good leader. But the first step to being a better leader is actually to knowing yourself. Knowing yourself. Now, I don't expect you guys to know yourselves. What is the average age of people in the room? 18, 19? 20, 21. I'm 29 and I still don't know who I am, and I'm still lost. What? Okay, now I'm scared. Did I say the wrong thing? I'm sorry. But, and I don't mean that because I want to discourage you. But I want you to keep in mind that at the end of this presentation, you will not know exactly who you are. And believe me, 5 years down the line, you probably won't. You'll discover more new things about yourself. But I want you guys to be energized, because the more you discover about yourself, probably the better person you are, because you're constantly perfecting yourself. So, I did ask you guys what kinds of leaders you are, and I want you to look at your word, and I'm not asking you to stand up again, but there are different kinds of leaders, and sometimes people classify them into so many different words. Sometimes someone would be the director. You do this, you do that, delegate, 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 pose, make love to the camera, director. There are other leaders, however, who are the force of empowerment. What does that mean to you? Anyone? You empower people, you don't say give them power. Yes, thank you. Encourage them. So there are leaders who say, you can do it, which is also like, go do it. But you can do it. Symbolic monarch. Queen Elizabeth of Great Britain is not lawmaking nor law-giving. She is a symbolic monarch. She is a symbol of state. That means she doesn't have any power, but gosh, she looks cool. So that's a symbol. Some leaders are like that. They look cool, they look good, they're not really doing anything. Ever encountered someone like that? Because I have, and they're so pretty, they're so cool, they're so gorgeous, and that's about it. The Machiavellian Prince. Who here has read or heard of The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli? Nuh-uh. If you're a dictator of a small country and very corrupt, you probably have this by your bedside. The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli is an instruction manual on how to be a good dictator. And one of the chapters is entitled, Should a Prince Be Loved or Feared? Now the prince, we're not talking about a prince in a monarchical perspective, or the artist formerly known as prince, but we are talking about leaders. Should a leader be loved or feared? And the answer of Niccolo Machiavelli is, they should be feared. You have to be fearsome, you have to go growl and people will bow down and do everything you want. So there are so many different ways that you can become a leader. But really, when you look at your word, can you really be one kind of leader? Especially when you're in a multicultural setting, boys, girls, and everything else in between, and all the other nations on the planet and every other planet besides. Can you be just one kind of leader? Can you just be charismatic all the time, a guide all the time, a director all the time, empowering everyone all the time? It is going to get tiring. Unless you know what kind of leader you are, you will not be able to lead. And I think unless you know who you are, you won't be a good leader. Who of you think that you know yourself so well already that you can absolutely predict the next thing you'll do and absolutely predict what anyone will say to you and who you will meet? Would anyone like to offer up their perfection? No one. I don't even know who I am. I bet lots of people walking around the planet are still searching for themselves. And mind you, I'm not going to turn this into a New Age lecture where you all have to sit down and go and try to find yourselves in the face of the universe. I'm just going to ask you guys to ask yourselves a few questions. And I'm actually going to ask you kind of scary questions because the last time someone asked me this, I really got scared. Because the objective of today's talk is to understand your box. I bet you guys have been told to think out of the box as leaders, right? Or in general, think out of the box. What does that mean? That someone thinks out of the box. Anyone? You don't have to think out of the box now. What does it mean?
Open your mind.
Open your mind is what? What else?
It's different from the normal.
Different from normal thinking, which of course would be open to definition because some people have normal and abnormal and we're all different in our normalities and abnormalities. Those are very politically incorrect words, not used outside this classroom. Anyone else?
I feel like it's like that area of zone where you're not sure yourself and you kind of like step out and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I feel like that's when I'm out of my box.
Perfect, that is right. Your box, to use a psychological / relationship / courtship / men are from Mars, women are from Venus term, is your comfort zone. And they often say that men have their comfort zones and they won't get out unless they really love a woman. Actually, all of us have our comfort zones. What is your comfort zone? Now, your comfort zone would be your common everyday routine, or whoever you were brought up to be. And that box would probably include your habits. Does anyone here have a habit of biting their nails? Oh yeah, you do. Okay. Does anyone here have a habit of burping uncontrollably? Man, this is shameful. Okay. Does anyone here have a strange habit they would like to share? Not share, demonstrate, share, tell us what your habit is.
I have to lock my car twice because I never feel like I locked it. It's really annoying. It like bugs me.
Does it annoy the car or does it annoy you?
I hold my hands like this.
Really? Why?
It's holding my thumb. It's not because I'm like combative. When I'm insecure.
Yes, ma'am.
My pockets. I always wear sweatshirts, and like if I don't wear a sweatshirt with pockets, like when I'm walking on campus, I'll reach for them and they're not there. Like several times in a row when I go, they're not there.
Have you heard of the term force of habit? That's exactly it. The scary question is not what your habits are. The scary question is why do you have them? Why do you even bite your nails? Is it an insecurity? Is it fear? Is it nerves? Why are you even nervous? Now the thing is, I think I've noticed this in a lot of students nowadays, and even in me. I love the question what, because I can give you the facts immediately. What's your favorite color? Oh, purple and anything dark. Or what's your favorite movie? Braveheart, Coolness, Violet. But when they ask me, why is that your favorite color? My mind is just stumped. Like, cause I like eggplants. Okay. Or why do you like Braveheart? I like violence. So think about it. Think about your habits. Think about everything that you're doing. Because your habits don't just come out of nowhere. You did not, pick something from the habit tree and go on your merry way. You were brought up with these. Why should you ask yourself about them? Simply because you are going to behave in certain ways depending on how you were brought up. Do you have, I remember someone saying about locking the car twice. Why do you behave that way? Would you know?
Well, yeah, I always feel like if I walk away and it's not locked, I'll come out. Like, I really do. I don't know, it's really weird. It really makes me mad.
Well, someone in a ghetto or in a very poor city would tell